All right, Joe the Fan here with you from Just Win Bets, baby, with Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac, we have a great and special guest here. When we talk about the WNBA, which is making a huge splash the last few days, without not only the last few days, but also the season, there's no one better than the Queen of Baskets herself. Queen, how you doing, my friend?
How are you guys? Good to join you.
Thanks for showing up here and joining us on the show here. Let's talk about, of course, the big news today, the expansion. The WNBA has now decided to expand 3 new teams starting in 2027, 2028, 29, and 30, with, of course, 2 teams that are going to expand next year in Portland and Toronto. Your thoughts on these 3 cities being Cleveland, Philadelphia, and the third one being, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Detroit.
They're not the ones I would have picked necessarily, but I'm not mad at those. Cleveland was an '08 franchise. They were the Rockers. They had decent attendance when they were in existence. They were solidly competitive. They went to the semis one year, but they were kind of middle of the road other than that, but they were supported. Ownership group was just like, we lost $2 million last year. Goodbye. And that was the end of Cleveland Rockers. So for them to get a franchise back, and I believe Dan Gilbert's in the ownership group this time, or the sole owner, one of the two. So it gives them some stability. It's a great basketball city. So I think there's more potential there, but it's a solid, safe bet, I think, for expansion for them. Detroit, I would have liked to have been Houston. Detroit was a power team back in the early to mid aughts. They won 3 titles as the Detroit Shock, coached by Bill Laimbeer. And then they were sold, moved to Tulsa, and then from Tulsa they were sold, and now they're the Dallas Wings. So I think with Cleveland and Detroit, you're kind of not to say, but kind of righting wrongs that were kind of done by previous circumstance, let's say. Philly, I think, is a great choice. I think you have a passionate fan base there, a loyal fan base there. You're going to have some interest there. There's some room for some natural rivalries there. With New York and with some other places as well. I think Philly's a solid bet. I would have liked to have seen Nashville and Houston myself. Houston, going back to another '06 team, won 4 titles. The Comets made watching the WNBA off the jump very boring if you weren't a Comets fan, because they were just beating folks. I would like to see them get their franchise back. But Tennessee, the intriguing prospect of putting a team in Nashville, right? Called the Tennessee Summit. You've got a logo, you've got proof of concept, you've got proof of concept being the Nashville hosted Athletes Unlimited this past offseason, and was well attended and well supported by the community. I think they proved it. They just weren't selected this round. My hope is for them to be selected next round. So Cleveland to Detroit, I get it. They're not bad choices. I would have made 2 different ones. Philly, I think, Philly could be nice, or it could run out 13 coaches in 13 years, depending on how things go there.
No, I like the name of the Nashville Summit. It reminds me of Pat Summit, the former Tennessee coach for the women Lady Vols. So I love that name right off the bat. I think you need to call Kathy right now and just say, hey, look, here's my suggestions.
Man, Kathy's going to have a lot of suggestions, and mine are probably 350,000th at the end of that. First and foremost, she's going to be worried about the CBA, but why are we scheduling 14 games on a day and then nothing for like 2 or 3? Like, I get it now. You have the Commissioner's Cup break, but I mean, come on. 3 games at 7 and 2 at 10. Yay. Like, come on, Kathy.
Well, I'm very proud of the WNBA. I mean, they're getting a lot of TV coverage, and it's been, I know you've been with the WNBA for a very, very long time. So what is your, enjoyment of seeing this league get bigger and bigger and bigger?
I mean, obviously, anytime you can bring more eyes to screens for women's sport, the better it's going to be, for little girls, for little boys, for us old people, right? For the WNBA, I think it's great, just as a business perspective, but also, this wave of women's empowerment in sport. The WNBA has always been at the forefront of it. The NWSL's expanded, come, gone, and they're now a part of public consciousness. The WNBA has always been there, but now getting the attention that these athletes, deserve. USA women's basketball has been elite for years at this point, and this is deserved, and this attention is long overdue, but it's here now, and I'm happy to have that. The annoying part is people trying to speak on the league that don't know a lot of the lore of the league, but with growth you get that. With new eyes and perspectives, you get new opinions. So to be expected. But the growth has been really nice to see. The explosion is a little like, whoa, because it was so much so fast. But the W was already trending upwards, be it slowly, in the years out of the wobble, leading up to Caitlin Clark. And then she just threw gasoline on the fire, and now we're a part of public discourse.
We're joined here with the Queen of Baskets. Of course, she does our WNBA daily picks. And Shano, she mentioned business. And when we talk about business, there's no one better, as we know, in Josh Harrison, what I've read, where now he's going to be part, or sometime, I don't know what the percentage is, or a partner, or what's his lead is, but for this Philadelphia WNBA team. That's something. I mean, he's been successful with the 76ers, of course, now with our team, Washington. I think that he's going to bring something great to the table for the expansion team for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Harrison, he's a great owner. He's been great for Washington here. 76ers fans are kind of on the fence with him sometimes with his ownership. A lot of it comes down to Embiid, I think, with Embiid not playing and being hurt all the time, which kind of hurts your team out when your best player is not playing. But he makes the right business moves. I think he's going to be great for the league, for WNBA. I think it will be. Queen of Baskets, I know you said Nashville. That's who I was hoping would get the expansion team. I was rooting for that to happen so much, because Nashville, they adopt their teams too. The Predators, the NHL team, they swarm to those games. They call it Smashville Predators down there. And I was hoping so
I've
much.
got a friend that lives there. I got a friend that lives there. She was super disappointed, and she's a huge Preds fan, and she was saying the same thing. And it's kind of got me to start paying attention to Nashville a little bit more, because at first you hear about it and you're like, Nashville, and you don't really think hoops, but now I started paying attention more. And really what did it for me and being like, okay, was when you have, I think Peyton Manning was involved, but definitely Candace Parker in the ownership conversation and the logo and bringing out and rolling that out as a concept for the public. But then when Nashville hosted AU this summer, and AU is an off-season venture for WNBA players to make more money. Now you have Unrivaled, which is team-based 3-on-3. AU is team-based, but scored individually. So it's an off-season competition to prevent players from having to go play overseas and run into some issues that have come up there with foreign travel. But those people showed up and out for Athletes Unlimited, and the type of names you're getting at AU. I mean, Maddie Siegrist won this year, and your average person would be like, who? Exactly. So there's no names there really. The biggest name was Alicia Clark, and she was a Tennessee girl, which is why she came back when she found Nashville was hosting it. So those people to show up and show out for third string and depth WNBA players and people trying to make a roster next year, that was proof of concept to me. I'm sold on Nashville as a destination.
So here's the thing that now we're going to talk about, of course, the regular season now that we're into right now, and we're almost at that midway point, because I know that you're attending the All-Star break game in Indianapolis. Before we get to the roster that was recently announced, let's talk about, of course, a recent trade from the Dallas Wings to your favorite, the Aces, which is, of course, Alicia Smith, forward from the Dallas Wings, is now going to be playing for the Aces.
Yeah, Alyssa Smith is a big four. She can also slot at the 5 in a pinch if you need her to. She was kind of playing the 5-4 kind of hybrid role with Aaliyah Boston and Indy. She was sort of kind of doing that this season, in part with Tierra McCowan, who's for Eurobasket right now. She'll be back soon. But also Maisha Hines-Allen, who used to be one of your Mystics, right? So they've been kind of 1-2 teaming it. I love the move for all parties involved. There's a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions about it. But, I mean, for Vegas, Vegas needs another big that's functional. They tried it with Gustafson. She's injured this season, but it wasn't really working out before that, but she's still a potential option. Kia Stokes is an elite defender, but she just cannot produce offensively at all. She won't shoot, and when she does, unless there's paint under her feet, it's probably not going in. So essentially, Vegas has been at a mathematical disadvantage all season when you're talking schematically, because they don't really have to guard Kia Stokes unless she's 2 feet from the basket. So what that's resulted in is a clogged paint, a lot more bodies that Asia Wilson's got to pile through or deal with, grabbing on her and swatting at her. And so that's one reason I think that she hasn't produced as well this season, even though she was voted an all-star starter as well, Wilson. But I love the move for Vegas. They're going all in on this core group that they have together for the last year before the off-season chaos of 2026 will happen. I love the move for Dallas as well. They have 3 functional bigs down there prior to this trade with Smith, Lee Rue, who the Wings just acquired from Seattle, and also Tierra McCowan, who, again, international duty, she's coming back. But with the acquisition of Yeru, she's outplayed Melissa Smith in the week or so that she's been there. And so if somebody has to move because you've got only 2 slots for only so many bodies, I love the move. That gives Melissa Smith a free start. She's not having to worry about playing time because all she has to do is show up, be average defensively and average offensively in Vegas, and Vegas is a completely different team. And that's time for her. She's on the court. She's got opportunities to show up and out as well there. I love it for Dallas. Clears the way for Yeru a little bit, gives her a little bit of breathing room, gives her a little bit of comfortability. I love it for all parties involved. I think it's going to be a really good trade. Dallas picking up another first rounder in 2027 when Kurt Miller's still building that roster. I think it was in aces. It's not like we have first round picks anyway. We're always getting investigated and losing them. So I think it was an all around win move. Will it pay off with a title for Vegas in the end? It very well could. This is the kind of piece. Now you're talking different scheme. People have to go back over this short break, but over the All-Star break and figure out again how you're going to guard Vegas, because you can't just do the same thing now. You got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out because you have 5 fully functional defensive and offensive humans now.
So before we get into the odds of what's going to happen, we talked about the futures. We'll look at that Mark in just a minute, but I wanted to pick your brain here a little bit on Angel Reese. A lot's been happening, of course, this season with the Chicago Sky. I think she's not getting the credit that she deserves, and I'll explain why I say that. The last 4 games, her rebound 16, 17, 18, 19, not in that order, but even her scoring has got up 24, 17, 18. So I think, I know Cardoso is not there. She's I believe in across the pond there right now, but Reese is, she's getting some hump with Atkins, right? But I love the way that she's playing. Your thoughts on that?
I think Reese gets a lot more flack than she should. She's not the type of player that's going to come in and carry a franchise. She is a role player. She is an engine. She is nonstop effort. Those are intangibles. In Vegas, my ace is Becky saying, I'm not going to coach effort. And she has effort in spades, right? There's a place for people who aren't the greatest offensively, but when it comes to rebounds, they suck those up like hungry hippos, man. There's a place for those folks. To me, I think the biggest comparison to her in my 1980s, 90s childhood basketball would be Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
She is Rodman. She's not as functional offensively right now, but she's already had Lisa Leslie express interest in working with her in the offseason. You saw in Unrivaled, but she's around some vets that she can, pick it up a little bit. Tyler Marsh, the coach for Chicago, who everybody wants rid of, right, because he's not producing instantly. Tyler Marsh was Vegas's development coach. Tyler Marsh turned Jackie Young's career around, helping her with shot mechanics. Tyler Young can coach up Angel Reese and make her into a functional offensive player. But what she brings on the defensive side, what she brings on the rebounds or me bounds or she bounds or whatever, she's grabbing them. And, that's hard to argue with as an evaluator of talent. And she's decently a pretty safe bet when it comes to rebounds or points or R's and A's or something. She's been good to us.
So, Queen, before we get you out of here, we got to know, who do you think wins the Commissioner's Cup, which plays tomorrow night?
First thing I'm doing is checking the injury report. All right, you got Caitlin Clark, who's missed time. Collier's been in and out for Minnesota. Both of those completely game changers if they're in or out. So, honestly, betting the Commissioner's Cup, I would wait till the last minute, because until that injury report is dropped, no Clark, different team. No Collier, different team. But say everybody's healthy and everybody's in, I'm going Minnesota.
Ooh.
They just collectively play better together. They've been there. They're vets. You've got a bunch of wily veterans on that team. McBuckets gets hot, or Fee underneath. Who's going to guard Fee? Aaliyah Boston? She tries. I love her. She's an all-star. She's a starter this year, Aaliyah Boston. But I'm trusting Collier on that team on my back type stuff.
The spread currently at -6.5 for Minnesota, where a money line they're playing -270. The over-under for that game is at 166.5 or 166.5, I should say. You leaning a certain way there, Queen?
I'd like to say I'm waiting until the last second. And then at the last second, if everything holds and it comes out and everybody's playing, I might take a peek at that over, because Minnesota can play fast if they get in a back and forth and if they want to. Indy likes to play fast, particularly here lately. So I take a peek at the over. Spreads, not as much my thing. But
Here with the Queen of Baskets, of course, she does our WNBA daily bets where she produces a lot of wins. Let's be honest here with some prop bets, some straight up pick 'em. She goes with the spread. But before we let you go there, Queen, let's talk about, of course, the future market. You had the aces to win it all. I don't recall what that number was. I took a little pizza on the Phoenix Mercury at 20-1. And we'll look at the market now of what it is now, because now Phoenix is at 9-1, where the Liberty's still at plus 150, the champs, Lynx at plus 250, the Fever at plus 500, the Aces are at plus 1400, and the Storm at plus 2500. And then you can see the rest of the table, folks, if you just log on to your local book and just click on the team futures, you can see the WNBA champion for 2025. So as of what you've seen thus far, almost to the halfway point of the WNBA season in 2025, any changes that you see? Are you sticking with your aces? What's the deal?
I mean, I would take my aces at now's odds if I was going to take them instead of the odds preseason. I'm a homer. I can't bet the aces now. I won't let myself, because I just lose them all the time. I want them over everything, always,
Sure.
and winning every spread, always. That's not how life works, come to find out. With this acquisition today, I would put pizza money on the aces, just because Alyssa Smith being that piece that she could just slot in there and you hear everything click and then the engine is humming, because we're just missing another big. But in terms of who else, it's a weird year, man. Everybody has their 2 or 3 top players that are coring together, right? And the outlier there would be Minnesota, but they've proven that they're collectively greater than they are individually. You know, New York has been missing Jonquel, so it might be time to scoop up a little bet on there, because JJ comes back and they're a different team also. Even though Burke has played well in her absence, and the little Sably has also. Phoenix is a good bet. You could pizza Indy if you want to, but I don't think they have the pieces this year. And particularly with how things have been going lately for their guards, let's say. It could be Vegas. Seattle could make a run. It's wild at the top of the league this year. The bottom of the league, not wild. But the top of the league, it's gonna come down to who gets hot and who stays healthy. But a thing to watch out for with your Phoenix bet: who's gonna sign DeWanna Bonner? Where is she gonna go? Because she just requested a release and was granted the vet treatment of a release free and clear from Indy. You know, her fiance plays for Phoenix. Is she gonna want to reunite with Alyssa Thomas down there? Is she gonna be a mercenary and go wherever? She could have gone to Vegas today. They had the cap space. If they had it for Smith, if they had it for Bonner, was there interest there? You know, would she now? Could she fit in Dallas? Who knows? But wherever she goes, she's going to make a team better. She is a vet, 16 some years. She's multiple time All-Star, multiple time player, sixth player of the year. She is a valuable piece that could make the difference, especially if she goes to Phoenix. Good Lord, that roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shayna, I heard that our producer Mark had the Connecticut Sun at 50,000 to 1 to win the WNBA championship. I don't know if that's going to hit there. Your thoughts on that real quick, Shayna?
I hope it hits, just because that would be hilarious. It would turn the league like up on its head, and it'd be hysterical to watch.
Man, that's the only way. If that hits, we are in the upside down, right? You start hanging lights on the wall and trying to communicate, because, oh my God, I feel so bad for their coach. He is a very good coach. He's done a great job, you know, internationally, and those girls play hard for him.
Sure.
They play for him. They're excited about playing, which, you know, probably for self-preservational reasons as well for some of them. But you know, when it's hard to get your tail whipped night in and night out, man, and they still come and run right back into the wall just as hard the next day, and there's something to be said about that. But I don't think they're winning.
Queen, we'll leave you with this question here. Who do you think wins the WNBA championship in 2025? Does the Liberty repeat, or is there a new champion?
I think New York gets it done. I do. I hate to say it. My wife's she's gonna love it. She's gonna hold it over me forever as a Liberty fan, as an LA fan. I want my Aces to win it. I don't know. It could happen, but if I'm putting money on it, I'm putting a little bit of money on the Liberty. I'm not going crazy though, because it's a weird year.
Absolutely. Hey, well, thank you very much, Queen. We appreciate everything that you do. Make sure that, guys, that don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button as well, or bell. It tells you when we're going to have a new video out. We appreciate the Queen of Basket's time. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Thanks for having me.